Okay.
Give me.
Hello, I'm Anand Ganu from Garje Marathi Global. I thank Trupti and Atharva for taking this initiative, and this is very important. This is the first in the series of various webinars and lectures and symposiums which we will hold. This is as is today. We have not taken it under Garje Marathi Global Innovation Academy, but this will be the part of Garje Marathi Innovation Academy and our student mentoring program. So I expect everybody to take maximum advantage of knowledge and experience and dedication that Trupti and others like Trupti who are there in Garje Marathi are putting in and get best out of it. So over to you, Trupti, and thank you very much for taking this lead and starting the new initiative in Garje Marathi Global.
Thank
Over
you
to you,
so much.
Trupti.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to give this a couple of minutes. We had Ganu Kaka फक्त थोड्या वेळासाठी, so I asked him to introduce and open the session for us. Couldn't think of a better way of opening the session. आणि म्हणून मग आता आपण 2 मिनिटं अजूनही देऊया. A lot of people have already joined, which is a really good sign. आणि
Yes.
थोड्या दिवसानंतर थोड्या वेळानंतर आता आपण 2 मिनिटात सुरू करू अजूनही, म्हणजे
Okay.
मग people will get the time. Thank you so much, Kaka, for
Yes.
everything.
Yes. Wishing you all the best. Wishing you
Thank
all the best.
you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Hi, Sunil. Hi, Abhi. Hi, Survat. Hi, Omkar, Praveen. Very,
Hey
very
Trupti,
glad.
good morning. Thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. Very, very glad to have all of you here. Don't know if you can see my screen. I have paused the recording for a second before, starting again, because I don't want to. Did I pause? All right. I think we have about 9, 10 people, including Pradnya. Hi, Pradnya. I hope you're doing well too. So what I'm going to do is, by the way, I'm Trupti, Russel, and we are going to talk about, so you might have attended a lot of resume sessions, Ani. Oh yeah, fine, AI is the buzzword out there, so everybody's talking about it, right? And we have a lot of people actually focusing on anything that comes through with resume writing or anything these days with AI. So I am going to talk about what it is out there today as the market stands, because that is something that is an angle that is not covered by people. The other thing that is not covered by people is how the trend is changing as we go and reach this market saturation kind of situation. Not really, but quite there. For people who are graduating anew, it's a really tough market out there today. So we are going to talk about how can you put yourself alag, like totally different from what you see out there today, right? So this is what this whole session is going to be about. And I've been working with a lot of people. I'll tell you why I am talking about it, or why is this, different, just relating to my background just a bit. I'm not going to brag too much about myself, promise. But I just need to tell you why me and why what angle am I trying to bring into this entire resume writing? Why is it different? So let's talk about why, first of all, this session exists, right? The job market change, we just talked about it. But moreover, like a lot of beautiful candidates, really strong, technically strong people, they are getting weeded out for no reason. Like, and this is like, okay, fine, you get weeded out and all, everything is fine. But like many people get weeded out, so what's the big deal? But the thing is that brings a lot of frustration. I've seen candidates who have been like, especially newly passed out people from master's degrees, that, oh, I'm frustrated because my resume is not getting picked up. I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, nothing is wrong with you. Number one, maybe your resume is not standing apart. Or number two, maybe, you know what, you might be in a position where you are a great candidate, but there are just too many applicants. So you're not getting picked up at all. So it is a dual fold. It's sometimes it's some things that you can fix and are in your control. Some things you cannot fix because there are just too many people out there today. But we are fixing the things that are in our control. That is what a resume is. So when we use AI, we have to put the AI angle because nothing is complete without the AI. But when you use it right, which I am fine tuning resume writer right now. I've created a GPT for it that I will be sharing at the end of the session and with everyone on the group as well, because I don't want anybody to miss out just because they could not make it in time here. But that is how we can use AI. We have fine-tuned this model. Let's some of you, if you want to volunteer and show me your resume and then tell me, hey, you know what, Trupti, there's a feedback. Heck, my tool is not perfect. We can make the changes ourselves and keep it trending so that all our community will actually benefit from it. And newbies that come into this country from India have a better, chance at putting their feet firmly on the ground in USA. I've seen people had to leave this country. There are a couple of them that are contemplating leaving this country, but आपलं we come, 50-50 लाखाचे लोन काढून आले असतात. Some people owe it to their parents, which is a better situation, but others is like they owe it to the banks. And that is a very hard situation to be in. Atta. So that's why we are talking about how to make your resume completely clarified for what it needs to do, not the fluff and everything that you see in other resumes or other people that are trying to, okay, fine, I have 15 years of experience, then that is an easier deal to do with, like me, or Sunil, like for instance on this call, or some others like you. But the thing is, we need to stand apart still. So that is what we'll be focusing on in this session. Now, my favorite topic about me. So why am I taking this? Is why me? So that's why about me. So yes, I'm a technology professional, but moreover, I am trying to build my own products, trying to hire people for it. So I'm on the other side of the table at the moment. Some of you, like I have been working with y'all and making sure that not just for my own company, but I am trying to find, there's a huge gap in the market today. There's a chasm. There's an opportunity, not a gap. Let's put it as an opportunity. All these mom and pop shops that are coming up right now, like me, I am a small timer. I cannot afford the big costs that big companies charge me for creating my website and having a global, digital presence. So what do I do? I can't afford the big bucks. And there are these people who are graduating afresh, do not have any experience. Tie the two worlds together, you have something that can actually, do something for everyone in our community. So that's what I'm trying to do. I've created about 7 jobs from the past 3 months that I'm working. I have gone and reached out to my friends who have started new companies, and I'm connecting them with these newly graduated people, and then helping them get trained in a really nice and like a company environment. So if we have many more people, I know Sunil is interested because he's a volunteer like me on Garje Marathi, but there may be others who are interested in doing this. So please come forward and get it upfront. And I do this for free. I give my time. Right now, I cannot give money, so I give my time, and that's why I'm a social worker who's helping a lot of people too. But moreover, it's also the business strategy that I'm doing. I work as a VP of business development for a company where I do this connection between, like contracting jobs. I create contracting jobs because I'm tired. I'm really tired of, asking people, hey, can you please interview this candidate? He's an excellent candidate. She's an excellent candidate. Please interview them. Very few people do that. Very few people are like, okay, fine, I'll get them. I'm not telling them to give you a job. All these mentees that I work with, I'm not telling them, hey, give my mentees a job. I'm telling them, get them through the door. Just give them an opportunity to interview. That's all I ask for. And even that is getting harder these days. So hence the business strategy part of it, where I'm working as a VP of business development for Crackerjack Tech Solutions. And of course, I code myself. So I am learning about the latest trends. That's why. So thank you so much for even trusting me with, your resumes here, and you are here for me. We have 12 people now. Great. I also went through a layoff in 2024, early 2024, and worked on my resume just like you all have. But I had a lot of help, like my CTO from the company that I got laid off, some VP level people. My very first manager is now a VP in some company. He helped me. Another person who left to join Meta, they helped me. My mentor, who is an American, he helped me. He was an acting CTO in one of my previous companies. All this knowledge that I put together, and I cut a deal with the company that laid me off because I did something cool for them. So the CTO was like, okay, Trupti gets something extra this time. We'll cut her a deal where she gets this resume writing service. So they actually hooked me up with a resume writing service. Now I didn't have to pay for it, then why should all the people from our community, right? You should also get all the knowledge that I got for free. I'm just passing it on. So that's why me, and I have been in the hiring pipeline. I was working for a startup where I actually hired 7 interns over the summer of 2022, and I went through all the resumes. So I know exactly what these HRs are doing and how they go through that entire process. So I had a unique opportunity to actually do the HR work because we could not afford an HR. Tough times, right, for small companies. Anyways, so that's what happened, and we actually recruited AI to do most of our stuff for us. So that was fun doing that AI project. But I got to learn a lot through, what is it sitting on the other side of the table. And so that's why me. Um, I'm just trying to build credibility because whatever gets discussed here is something that has to be won over with trust and not because, hey, how great I am. That's not the purpose of this slide, just FYI. Um, so let's get down to the meat of it, right? You apply, you hit click, quick apply on, let's say, LinkedIn. Guess what? If you do that, if you're doing that, please stop. That doesn't work. These, if we get referrals through LinkedIn, then there is a fee that's associated with it. So people don't want to take, they just want to put it out there so that smart people can come to their website and apply. So if you want to get something, your resume really picked up and looked at, do not apply through LinkedIn. Go to the company's website, research about the company, and then apply there. So first of all, I want to prelude all this entire slide with that. So do not click fast apply, quick apply, or whatever those buttons that come handy on LinkedIn. They do not work. And this is what I have talked with a lot of HRs in the industry, and they've told me that they do not want to work with people from LinkedIn. They would rather prefer, people coming onto their website and applying, whatever that may be, like all these ATSs that are out there, Gem Jobs or Workday or what have you, all those recruiting platforms that are out there. So I mean, so what we are talking about here is basically, an ATS that picks it up, right? And then either there is an AI now already embedded into that ATS and now looks at your resume and says, hey, you're a match or not. And then it's gone. Else, a recruiter is looking at your resume and says, okay, fine, I think it's okay. I can now put it through my AI and spend the money on AI for this. And then they push it through their, AI. In either case, your resume gets only about 10 seconds of look. You know what that means? It means that you stand a very thin chance because not all our resumes are catered to every single job. There are people who do that, and I'm now preaching in this new market. I was never a fan of having multiple copies of your resume, but I'm actually preaching it now. I'm like, no, no, no. In this market, you need to cater it to whatever you are, whatever position comes through. And that is quintessential because if it's not worth it, if they do not see the jargons, you're out. And the rest of the tips that I'm going to give you is going to help you with those 6 to 8 seconds. How to make your resume stand apart because you get only such time. Unfortunately, your identity is reduced to this piece of paper, people. It's not easy to get yourself, okay, fine. There are thousands of resumes. Out of that 100 resumes, I'm going to scan by, with my own eyes, says the HR recruiter. And then 5 of them will be called because the entire team does not have the time to interview 100 candidates. They do not. Otherwise, they'll put you through, if you're a newbie, then they'll put you through the, hey, here's the assignment and do it, right? But they'll recruit AI again to look at if there is any, code forgery or what have you, and then get you on board. So that is, on these platforms that actually have the assignments done, it already comes handy and integrated with that, right? But moreover, whenever you're looking at the resume, what role you're applying for is important. What impact you've caused or had in your previous jobs. If you do not have a previous job, wait for it, it's coming. You need to show impact. What is it that you actually bring to the table? If you do not know what you're bringing to the table, then you better find that out today. That's your homework number one. And what you're trying to say should be crisp, small, and to the point. Because you can go all day long. You can have a 5-page resume and highlight or bold words that are important in your resume. Nobody even has the time to scroll through those 5 pages. 6 to 10 seconds. What are you going to look at? Maximum 10. Okay, fine, you caught their attention. Fine, they'll give you a couple of seconds more. That's it. You can't ask them. They'll be like, nahin, done. Right? So clarity is the major thing. That's what my tool concentrates on. The GPT that I've created concentrates on. So that's what you need. Anyhow, so any questions thus far? I'm going to take a quick pause because I can have some coffee. All right.
I have a quick question.
Lovely.
Hi, Trupti. When we apply for this contract role, right?
Mhm.
So, in that one, like, if you have seen that most of them, they just see the keywords. And like, initially, I created my resume for 2 pages, okay? And I have seen that I'm not getting any calls. And like going forward, when I started like having those keywords, my resume length became like 4 pages. Like I'm having 12 plus years of experience, so uh, adding all those keywords on the resume, it makes a bigger resume. So what do you suggest in this one for the contract roles?
Yes. And so for the contract roles, oh my God, you bring up an excellent point because how many times do I get asked this question where, hey, what is more important now? These contract people, right?
Tell the phone. They haven't beaten the answers having away. And they haven't beaten India having
Hi,
away.
Priyesh. Can I mute you, Parish?
Tested me. White ball cricket. Seeing in
Yeah,
2025.
I'm back to mute Priyesh. I cannot find him. Hold on. Let me just mute Priyesh. There you go. All right.
Sorry.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Oh, that's perfectly all right, buddy. It happens to all of us. Don't worry. Um, well, it is a thin balance. Number one, these contracting companies that actually take your resume and to play a number on it, sometimes are already, they're trying to oversell you, but also they have the ear of the customers already. So there is a chance that you might get into so let them do whatever they need to, but the keywords that you're talking about can still be as a part of your 2-pager resume and you can still make it. I am getting about 8 to 10 calls and I do have only a 2-pager resume and it is for 17 years of experience. So we will talk about it and that's a great question. Can you hold that thought for a bit and we will get to it, I promise you. But for the time being, does that answer your question for a minute? Excellent. Thank you so much, Abhi. But so yes, clarity will beat the keywords, but clarity needs to happen very crisp, and that's maybe your resume does not have what I'm trying to tell you, but we can talk about it when we have that half an hour session together, right, Abhi? But yeah, we'll get to that. So you have a clear headline. What does your resume look like, right? And then again, I'm going to do all this as a practical example too. I do not want to just leave you with slides, but let's get through the content of it and then let's work on practicality. That's my plan of action. We are probably going to go 5 minutes over. Just a quick time check here. So we need a clear headline. What is it that you are interviewing for? You need to know and I think the next slide covers it, but you need to know the role that you're targeting. Yes, your resume is going to change per role, like a TPM versus a staff engineer that I apply for right now. It is going to change a little bit, but usually if you just change the headline and keep most of the content just like as is and just tweak the sentences a little bit, you have better chances to get your resume picked up for a TPM. And you have better chances to do it for the staff engineer if your headline is very clear. Because within the first second, it's like the first sentence that comes to your mind, you should have just a summary and that headline should be clear. I'm a staff software engineer. I'm a TPM. That's it. Once you have that, then you have to, we'll talk about the impact driven experience because that's very, very important, and that's why people say that clarity comes when you show the impact first. I'll tell you why. But you have, and then I always like to say, okay, fine, I do have experience, but then these candidates, like recruiters, especially these, recruiting companies, when they come to you, they're like, dude, but when did you work on C sharp? My resume is C sharp heavy. So it's like, dude, but when did you work on C sharp last? How many years of experience? I got it. But how, like, that's not clear from your resume. So there are ways to do it very easily that the resume writing agency that I work with showed me. And that's what I'm going to share with you. And yes, your formatting, very important. Make it, गजबजीत असा resume नको आपल्याला. We don't want it all crunched up. We want it nicely spaced out, beautiful. So if you are trying to, reduce the font in order to fit more stuff in it to make that 2-pager resume, it's not going to work either. Because it's like सुटसुटीत हवा ना resume. बघितल्यानंतर असं कळलं पाहिजे, oh wow, this is the resume I want to look at, because that person knows what he's talking about. He's not chaotic. She's not chaotic, right? When they come to your resume, that's what the feeling should be. So, and then then I have the structure that I have worked on with my resume. I'm going to just share it with all of you, and then we will talk more about all of these points in detail. Now, so let's go to that. Let's look at my resume. Let's pull it up here. And again, my resume is perfect. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Every time, all your resumes are always a work in progress. It'll never, ever give you something that is, oh, this is the perfect resume on earth, And this is not even my latest resume. I've not had a chance to do it because I'm busy helping other people do it. But I know that I do not, even this is way too long. For me, if I look at it today, I'm like, oh, shoot, this is a little too long. I want to make my technical summary a little less. But I want, if you are a technical person, I want, or even not a technical person, if you have a blog or whatever, like if you're a product manager and if you have a portfolio for that, you have to put it on top, because sometimes what happens is सगळे दिवस एकसारखे नसतात. When you are sometimes in an interview, you might not fare well. But then they look at the work that you've done on GitHub, on your LinkedIn, they look at the kind of contributions you've done, and they'll be like, oh, you know what? We should give this person another chance. Maybe they were just having a bad day, So everything should be right here, like GitHub and GitLink, like all this LinkedIn, it should be right there. Okay. So what I need to look at is, okay, I have two-pager here, but how much am I putting in? And here are my skills all the way to the end. Why? Because I am going to tell you exactly what I worked on and where I worked on what technology right within the entire experience, like this. Now, here I have something which is here. The minute I put something, is my screen still sharing, people? Okay. People can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Great. I'm so sorry. I had a blip here. So if I look at my own, resume, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll talk about education. Why did I put education? I don't need to. I have 17 years of experience. Why did I put it? Because I have something recent. So the best thing that you can do to your resume is have things chronologically. If you have something to highlight, if you're a new graduate, yes, your education comes on top. But if you have 12 years of experience, like Abhi just mentioned, put it at the bottom, because nobody cares about it, because it's not chronological. You've not added value to it unless you go and get something like I did, and then you can put it on top like I did, and then that'll be good. I have not received a master's in this country, but that's okay. I have 17 years of experience. What more do you want, right? So this is how I stand apart. Okay, she made her mark. That's the kind of remarks that I've got on my resume. Now, not that it is. This is how I stand apart, because I am trying to tell them, okay, fine, you know what? I take initiative, I think outside the box about it, and then I move the needle for you by giving, and that's why I get awards. No company will give you awards for nothing, right? So if you have awards, if you've received recognition, highlight it. That makes you stand apart. You are unique. You're beautiful. I believe very strongly that every person brings something good to the table. I learned it the hard way, very hard way. I was very territorial about my code. I was just telling this in a session yesterday that I had with some of my mentees. I was very territorial about everything I did. There's no need. Just let it hang out and let people come and see how unique and different you are, because if you have something to give. I promise you, all of you do. And even if you're new, you don't have a single day of experience in the industry, you still do. Because you bring your curiosity. Like I said earlier, the people who are just getting into the market, they bring their curiosity, they bring their beautiful, learnability to the table. I am new, I'll get you a fresh perspective. You are working on this product for 10 years, but if I look at it, I am going to find some problems and loopholes that you didn't think about it because you're looking at a problem for far too long, right? So how did I think about out of the box with my projects that I was working on at my university? That is something that will set you apart. So something unique. So you need to talk to someone, that and keep at it till you find what is unique about you. That is your identity, and that needs to come out in your resume. This is something that nobody tells you because we don't talk enough about our resume. The hardest thing to do on earth is स्वतःची बढाईगिरी करणं, or to talk good about yourself, and that's all a resume is. But you don't want to sound pompous. I am sounding a little pompous at that risk, but you don't want to sound pompous, and there's a very thin line that you have to march along. So what my mentor told me is that when you are highlighting, you should know what you are before you actually write your resume. That's what he told me. And I'm like, what does that mean? I know who I am. No, he's like, no. Are you technically sound? Are you more innovative? People can write innovative solutions and still not be technically sound. I was that at one point. So you know what your weaknesses are, you know what your strengths are. Play on those strengths, and those are what you should put on your 2-pager. So far, so good. Any questions? Okay. So, and I can be that sounding board for all of you. Huh? If you want, I can talk and talk and talk, but that's what I want each one of you to discover, to see, hey, what is it that I am unique about? And that's what I did. I thought, you know what? Writing POCs is my strength. Heck, I'm going to highlight it. That's one of the first things that I highlight, right? And then I say, okay, fine, that is one thing. And if you are new, then, the GitHub it'll be pretty, small. Your GitHub repo won't be as big. But then I spend time, sometimes when I did not have a job, for 1 week, I just spent time benchmarking. Hey, C# .NET, 6.0 versus 8.0. What was different? What was the performance improvements? Can I run some benchmarks and actually show and depict that, hey, I care about the technology that I work on and I know the latest trends in it. So if you do not have a job, this is your time window to actually invest on yourself. Look at it that way. If you look at it like, oh my God, I don't have a job, and yes, खाण्यापिण्याचं सगळ्यांचंच मन देतं सध्या, पण त्याच्यामध्ये आपण ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी शोधून जर का आपण काय करायचंय आणि हाऊ टू इम्प्रूव्ह माय सेल्फ. मी काही नाही केलं ते 1 वीक मध्ये मी त्या बेंचमार्किंग केलं बिकॉज आय वॉन्टेड टू शो दॅट आय एम स्टील इन टच विथ व्हॉट आय एम डुईंग. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे मी एवढंच केलं की मी फक्त बघितलं की अरे can I add some technological skills to me, and that's it. And then now, since then, I've decided every year I'm going to add some technological skill to me and make sure that I am up to date about it. So that will add to your list and your portfolio, and it's a lot more to learn every year. Because now I say, okay, fine, I'm into generative AI, but I need to know what are the latest trends in it, right? I can't just say it's there, and then if they ask me a question during the interview, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can say I don't know. That is, we'll talk about it when we get to that. But there should be something, your passion should come out. So your passion, your learnability, your inclination to actually do something within the realm that you're working, the technology stack that you're working on, are very positive points, even if you do not have a job. Always keep building your portfolio. Whatever you've been curious about working, put it on your GitHub. Even if it's an article, heck, put that on GitHub. I can't stress enough, like, this is all my, like my mentor, his name is Kevin Meeks. He's always told me that, Trupti, what have you done today? What have you done? Like, when you sleep, what have you done today? What is new? What did you learn new today? So if you keep that mindset, then that helps you, okay, fine, that is my passion. This is what is going to keep me churning. Yes, I do not have food on the table today, but I am adding value so that when I do get a chance, it's not going to go waste and I will retain that job. Because yes, getting job is one thing, but actually retaining it is a totally different ballgame. We'll talk about it in the future sessions. However, getting the job now, this is your first battle in the big war. If you look at a war, your war right now is to get a job. This is the first battle. You need to get your foot in. And your identity is this 2-pager. So it has to be perfect. That's why we're talking about this. After that, we'll talk about the smaller battle. Every battle to win the final war, we can talk about. I gave exactly, in November, I started interviewing. I started prepping for my interview. December first week, I started interviewing. I gave exactly 5 interviews. made through three rounds for 3 of them, and then I ended up getting only 1 offer. But I did not give more than those many interviews. I'm doing it very targeted. I'm not trying to say I'm going to apply for 500 jobs. That's not going to work in this market, because you'll just get frustrated because your resume is not getting picked up. So be targeted, be focused on what you want to do next, and then just target that, and then learn about the companies. Spend time doing that. ChatGPT is excellent for doing that. We'll talk about it in the next sessions too. It helps you win every battle, by the way. It's helped me win every battle. I just prepared for that 1 hour interview. What are they going to ask me? And that's it. And that helps because you already have the knowledge. You just have to structure it properly because you've already spent time learning about it, right? So that's the whole thing. Now, here are the unique points that, also are not there in other people's resumes that I've seen. But number one, Starbucks, right? I consulted at Starbucks. I was a contractor there, right? But what I did was, hey, do I need to tell people what Starbucks does? No, people know what Starbucks does, right? They want to, they want to know what is the major achievement I did because that moved the needle. So I want to put about my major achievement first. How did I impact and how did I save or make money for the company? Always ask yourself that question. Whenever you're writing anything, it's always impact is what? How did you move the needle and how did you get it? Sorry, my dogs just learned how to walk into a room. They're in the room now. So the thing is, you need to put in, like what is your major achievement, the first. But Alaska Airlines, yes, people know what it does. But let's look at Strivor Labs. Who the hell is going to know what Strivor Labs is? That's why wherever I know that there is ambiguity, I always put a single line under it telling, hey, it's a VR learning platform. And now when they're reading through this, right, if they're going to ask me questions, the interviewer is going to ask me questions, they'll be like, hey, now I have context of what she's talking about here. What impact she's made makes greater sense when you're talking about some domain that has not been worked on before. Does that make sense? Oh, I have a couple of chats. I'm so sorry. I should have kept the chats open. No, just a second. Is there any question? If there is any question, please can people just raise their hand so that I can ask them to ask the question, or even if it's something that they want to share. If you're doing it in the chats, I just don't have the chats open right now. I'm so sorry. So yeah. Anywho, hi Madhuri. So that is the whole thing. Like if you give them context, right, it helps them what they're gonna ask you. Your achievements make more sense. And then they'll know, okay, fine, these are the kind of questions. And then since I'm a technical person, I will put in the tech stack that I used. You can always put, like if you are let's say you are into product management and you have some tools specifically to product management, you can put those in. But at least they know that you are aware, and now they know they don't have to think, oh, this is a C# resume. She's worked on C#, she's worked on, React very recently, and that's good. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm just going to get the door, but I'm listening. All right. Nothing? But yeah, this is how I've shaped my resume. These few things, if you do them and then get me your resume, I will be able to guide you in deeper, take you deeper in. Hi, Suji. Thank you. What happens is like, and by the way, I can do this all day long, but also there is one thing, there's a P0 to all of this, a prelude to, even writing your resume. Reach out to the people you've ever worked with. Go and have a conversation, go and have a coffee, either on a Zoom call or what have you. Meet them in person if you can and ask them, hey, why is it that you retained me for so long? I was an intern at your company for 3 months. Why did you keep me? What is the best thing that you liked about me? But you don't want to sound pompous, right? You were going to ask them, hey, but then what is it that you think I should improve the most? And guess what? You're going to get a good answer for both of those if they've really closely worked with you, especially if they're your manager. And then they know that you're constantly actually working on yourself and you know that you're not perfect because nobody is. And they're more inclined to hire you also the next time. Networks are built like this. right up to the first manager, if you're very first manager, if you have them under your belt, and if they say, okay, fine, Trupti, I can hire you, then you've won the battle forever. Because, won the war forever. Because now you have people vouching for you and actually, yeah. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, I've never had to use my previous contacts. But God forbid, there might be a time when my career takes such a bad hit that I might want to use those contacts and get my footstep and never ask for a job, ask for an opportunity for the job. Never ever say, okay, can I please just get the job? No. Because that will always, first of all, you are putting that person's reputation at the company that he or she is working at stake. What if something happens and you are not able to perform? Their impression is also lost, right? You want to care for them. Plus, on top of that, if you are really good, then you will be able to find what the gaps are or what have you. But beyond that, even if you are it'll tell you what are you made of, what are you lacking. If I cannot answer an architectural level question, that means, hey, I need to brush up my architectural skills. I need to do my back of the envelope calculations, what have you. You get to know what you're lacking, and then that you won't get, because every day when you get the job, it's an interview. You're going there, you're going to perform in front of the person every single day to prove yourself. I got a job and I was told recently that, hey, for every employee, the first 3 months are probation. I'm like, what? I'm on probation? He's like, no, it's just the way we put it. We don't hire people unless we're confident, but we just keep them, on that thing because we don't know if we've made a mistake. And those 3 months actually give us that chance. So there are some companies out there where you have to still keep proving yourself, but every day that you go to a job and show up, you have to prove yourself. So having that understanding where you lack and where you are lacking in your job responsibilities will also help you be a better person, and then you can be a better whatever your job is at, you're going to get better at it. But on the other hand, when you actually interview, you'll get better and better at it. Like over the years, I did give 100 interviews at one point and I still didn't make it. That was my very first job in this country. But the thing is, you have to be able to do that then you have to be like, okay, what did I learn from that, right? The second thing about your resume, very, very important, is how was I able to say, okay, this was my major achievement and these are the various points that I'm working on, right? These are the things that I worked on. Because I always keep a log. Whenever you're at a job, you are going to keep a log of whatever you do. Any major projects that you've worked on, keep a Google Drive, keep a document. What was the biggest challenge I faced? What was my biggest strength that I brought to the table? Every job has different challenges, different. It's like navi beti nava dandu aisa type it. So you will get to learn so much more if you put yourself and apply yourself differently in different jobs. So if you are trying to say, okay, fine, Azmi Euda Kelo, this was the first 2-3 months I worked on this project, write about it because it's fresh in your mind. Write about it just for your one weekend, just sit in the morning and just write about it. I finished this project, I delivered. What did I feel good about? What did I feel bad about? What could I have done better? Right? And then once you are ready to, apply for a job, those are the notes that you can feed to AI and say, hey, this is what I did. So now please fine tune it and make it, clarify it and give it to me so that I don't have to spend too much of my time doing it. That is the way you use AI. You have to give it the material, you have to give it the quote unquote domain that is you in this case, and then tell it, hey, help me, refine this, put it in perfect language for me. Now, if you look at this, right, let's go even a little bit more deeper. I want to find an example that is very pointed so that, because my resume is, oh my God, I need a lot of updates. Okay, so number one, every single line, every single point that you want to make is not going to exceed one line. It does not, you cannot exceed one line, because the minute you start exceeding that one line to make your point, that means it's too long and you do not know how to make it crisp and there is no clarity in what you've done. That is what it shows and depicts to the resume readers. Oh, he needs 3 lines. She needs 3 lines to explain what she did. That means she's just all over the place. She doesn't know exactly what she's done. And when you're writing every point, put the impact in the front. I'm trying to find an example. My God, my resume needs a lot of work. But it's like, let's say here, this is not a point. And look, it's already gone here, right? Improved feature delivery process by 40%. approximately 40%. Tilde means approximately, right? By boosting team performance, right? I am putting what I save the money for the company. I put it in the front because they don't care about that how part and what part and why part comes later. Once you get your step through the door, it matters. What matters to them is how you move the needle for them. Now we are hearing AI so much, right? One fun fact is that I've noticed is some of these people that are preaching for AI do not really they want to make their company look good on paper. Do they understand completely what AI is? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But sometimes, they just want to make their company look good on the paper so that if your investors hear, hey, I'm investing in AI, they want you completely on board and they want to invest more because they are like, oh, that means you're going to save money. Oh, that means you're going to have less jobs. That means you are going to earn more. Hence, you are a profitable company and hence I want to invest in you. This is the general notion. I'm not saying that it's used and abused everywhere, but that is a general notion that, hey, AI is going to help you save money because you're going to cut down on employees. And that's why they don't understand the human in the loop is still required in most cases. But this is the general notion that AI is going to come for our jobs, but it might not come as early as we think, or it just might because AI is going so fast, right? In either case, you need to be prepared for whatever. This is scenario A, that AI doesn't take over the world. What do I do then? This is scenario B. AI does take over and my job is done. Me as a software engineer does not exist in another few months. What do I do next? This is what you should be asking yourselves and prepare those scenarios and write them down if it helps you. Because the market out there is right now adaptability. You need to change according to what you're seeing every day and reading every day, and you have to adapt. That's the only thing you can do. You're just playing catch up with everything that is out there. So, any questions so far? Okay, so just a quick recap about what I was saying. Keep your summary short, right? Highlight chronologically what you've worked on, right? That is how it should come. What makes you unique? Those points should stand out first, right? Number 4, your experience that you write. You should keep a log of all those things, but also make sure that you have that you can describe what you've done within one sentence and put the impact before you put the actual hows and whats and why. Hows and whys. The what should come first. How did you move the needle? That should impact. Then the hows, whys, whats, whatever. Impact, whatever. Define that within one line. Number 5. One line. Number 6, if you have major achievements, if you've done even as much as, hey, I learned some new technology by myself to deliver this, or I innovated something, cool, put it up. And then number 7, if the company is a small time company, which probably what newbies must target for and given the market situation right now, because big companies are laying off people left and right. At the moment, that's my personal advice. Don't take it on face value. Try and do your own research before you actually do that. But this is what I've discovered. So then you need to actually describe what that company does just in one line so that there is context laid out. So now, then when anyone comes and looks at your resume, they're like, okay, fine, this person is sorted. They know what they're doing. The ATS looks at your resume, they're like, oh, this person has all the, see now, Abhi, to your point, right? Earlier, you said, oh, I need all the keywords. Look how many times I have C# and .NET in my resume. It comes in almost everything. That's why I get all the calls that I get are for Microsoft technologies at the moment. So this is how I do my keyword and all my laying out, and it's still 2-page. I had a recruiter who actually who put me through after Alaska Airlines. She was working with me, and she said, "Trupti, can I do one thing? Can I just get rid of the last two, like the SunGuard technology services, and just say if you want more information, we can give you the full resume, which is going to be more than 2 pages, and then put a few more points in your Alaska Airlines and Sterling back check instead." And I said, great, go ahead and do it. So I allowed her to do that, by the way, Zabir. So this is what I'm talking about. You need to take it on a case-to-case basis, but you know thyself before you can actually tell them that. Making your resume 4-pager cannot guarantee that you might get that job, but it might guarantee you a seat at the table. And that's what you need at the moment, because that's the battle you're trying to win. Getting thousands of resumes is the bottleneck today. Make sense? Excellent. Okay. All right. So now I wanted to, we are at, I want to leave, I thought we would go over, but I think these are the points that I wanted to make today. The next, let's go to the next slide and see. Come on. Okay. So when I talk about the impact part of it, right, I put a slide in because I do not want to miss this point at all. If you say you worked on multiple projects, it shows that you're all over the place, right? But if you say I delivered features improving reliability and delivery speed, now you're already making an impact. Speed is always money. They want it, right? So that is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And if you can put metrics, please, by the way, do not lie about metrics. I'm going to tell you some prompts that I've used, but do not lie on your resume. If you do not know the metrics, go back again to your friends back at work that you have worked in before and ask them, hey, you know what? We did this together. Can we do the benchmark or do something about it? And can you help me with it? Give me a ballpark how much we improved. And they will. Why not? You don't have access to the code anymore or anything, but if you are cordial and if you build that relationship with them, they will help you and oblige you by telling you, hey, you improved, my first job that I was at. I never did that. I never kept a log. But then I went back and I asked the people that I improved. I just did, instead of stored procedures, I used something, anyways, jargons. But it was a simple fix, but it improved the performance by 95%. Because it took a minute instead of taking 3 hours to run that same thing. So it was not such a big thing. It was just the technology we used was wrong. But, I went back and asked, Sanjeev, who was the manager I worked with then. I said, Sanjeev, how much did that improve? Is that product still in vogue? And he said, yeah, it is. And this is how much you improved, So I did not put those numbers lightly. I asked him to run it and without it and, after and before, and then say, okay, fine, this is how much I improved. Did the calculations by hand. I mean, not by hand, but I worked it out before I actually put it on the resume. So that is very important. But if you have any impact, if your impact is maximized, it's with those metrics, but don't force them. Never force them. Because you won't be able to justify it. People will catch it. When you're on the other side of the table, they will be able to catch it. So whenever you're talking about a resume, right, when I say edit and don't invent is because if you get a format that is working for you, just do it. Don't worry about, hey, don't try and reinvent the wheel saying that, hey, you know what, I'm going to try and see if something else works. Find people who get job interview calls. This is what I have, but this is not like a North Star. Whatever I've put here for you is not like, hey, this format, otherwise nothing. Go my way or the highway. No. It's like, see, go to your friends, ask them, hey, are you getting calls? Okay, fine. Can I see your resume, please? And then see. Compare it with your resume and see what is lacking. That's a continuous, one big takeaway from this session should be always keep yourself, in touch with people. Your network will help you understand what are the trends. That is one thing that the network gives you. They might not be able to give you jobs directly, but they will give you that. So never underestimate like I started preaching, keep multiple resume copies, right? I did not know that. One of my students came up to me and told me that when I was doing a session with them, they were like, oh, you know what, but this has worked better for us. I said, great, I'm adapting it. And I did it for my last spell of interviewing. So this is, you keep on learning and seeing what is out there, and that is the biggest takeaway. This is what has worked for me. So I give you whatever has worked for me, but that our work does not stop there. Our work starts with this and says, okay, fine, your homeworks and what you need to work on with your resume based on this session, and then go and see what's worked for others. Maybe I'll learn a thing or two from you. Come back to me, talk to me. I can help other people do it. So that's the whole idea. Improve clarity. I cannot stress on that, but you can ask this to do this right away without my prompt. Also, you can go and ask ChatGPT to do this for you. It'll do it. Say, hey, I'm applying for a TPM role. Can you please cater this resume for the TPM role? It'll do it for you. And never, like I said, never fabricate metrics because, and tell ChatGPT or whatever engine that you're using also not to do it, Claude or what have you. tell it not to fabricate your metrics, because it will. I've seen it. It'll say, oh, maybe you improved it by 60% or something, where I don't have numbers. And I don't want that. I want to be able to, because I'm going to sell myself, right? Once you pass the first battle of getting a step through the door, then your narrative begins. And your narrative should be plausible enough for them to believe and give you the job. And believe me, on the other side, any interviewer has already made up their mind in the first 10 minutes if they want to hire you or not. And if you falter even this much, no, you don't make it to the next round. I learned it at T-Mobile. I gave that interview and I faltered for the first something like, they asked me a question and I was like, what? And then that's it. I was out. So those are the few things. Now we will go to the AI prompt, and so I'm going to hold this for a minute. But these things that I've written here, I will these are already inbuilt in my GPT. That's why I built the GPT, so that you don't have to worry about all these things and remember it. The other thing that I've learned is if you automate and create a GPT, it's very simple to do so on your own. You can actually give it whatever custom things that you are going to keep repeating every time for every you're going to apply for, let's say, 10 jobs. You don't want to keep doing that. So just create a prompt for it, create a GPT, and then just forget about it. Because now it's ChatGPT's headache. It is Claude's headache. It is Gemini's headache, not yours, right? So this is what you use AI for. Make sense? Okay. Thank you. But that's, I think, yeah. And then now, yes, so we've talked about this when I was looking through it, but one resume for all roles, like I said, I've been preaching that for the longest time, but I've switched from that because this is not the market for it. ATSs are becoming very much more smarter than they were before, and you do not want. I always preach for one single resume because I thought, hey, what if they say that you plagiarized your resume or you are lying on your resume because you have 30 of them floating out there. But if the gist of the of what you've done is the same, but you're just tweaking it to fit the role that you are going to be in, sure, why not? Right? So that's why I don't create just one resume for all roles. Long paragraphs are a no-no. Crisp, to the point. Every single impact that you have done. Also, your resume should not read like a job description. No. I've worked on this. I've worked on no. Everybody does that. Everybody has the chops today. There are millions of people out there that have the same chops as you do. They're all technically strong. How do you stand apart is what you need to find. So long paragraphs won't cut it. You need to know who you are and what you are doing. Long paragraphs will immediately stop once you know exactly what you've done and what impact you are trying to put forward. That's why long paragraphs, no, but I've showed you ways to actually get rid of those long paragraphs. Your summary is something that should be crisp and small too. The minute you increase it beyond 3 or 4 lines, mine is way too long, by the way. My summary is bad. So I need to work on that again. But anyways, I'm getting calls still, so it's fine, I think. But that's what you are supposed to do. And I always have my LinkedIn button on because I want to see what are the latest trends. I'm not finding a job, but it's always good to know what's out there. And by the way, even if you have a job once a year, it's good to just go out there and interview just for the fun of it. Like one of my mentors said that to me. I'm like, hey, you are you going to interview? Like he's like, I have an interview. Like he told me because he was in another company by then. I'm like, oh, so you're changing your job? He said, no, I'm just keeping myself updated because I'll know what to answer when the time comes. I'm already up to date, and then I can keep interviewing. That is not a bad thing actually. Buzzwords, yeah, buzzwords or having like those keywords as we keep saying, right? I think they're important, but those are not the only things that are looked at. So don't get carried away too much with the buzzwords. And just because you use some buzzwords, and we'll talk about it when we come to it also, when you're interviewing, it's not about the buzzwords are to be used, but in a very subtle way, rather than keeping, dropping them and then that's how you get the job. No. If you cannot talk about it, do not use that word. Be prepared to talk at least for 2 minutes. If you are using a buzzword, you need to be prepared. So, and mostly people go by your resume. So that's why buzzwords, not from the get-go, you need to clean up yourself and say, okay, can I talk about it? Can I have a narrative behind every single word that is written except for the articles and all that? If you cannot, do not put it on your resume. Take it out. Or otherwise, go and talk to the person. Even if you're, let's say, you were closely working with another person, but that other person did it and you still want to put it on your resume, make sure you talk to that person. If you're going to make your resume larger than your life, make sure you have a narrative behind it. So those buzzwords are extremely, take it with a pinch of salt when I say you can use buzzwords, but be careful what you wish for when you are adding those buzzwords to your resume. So clean it from the get-go, because your resume is going to be referred by every single person, even during the interview. So they're going to ask you based on that, because that's all the information they know, and they're going to build on top of it to hire you, right? So that's that. And no outcomes. Now, we do have, like I said, we have these resumes that are, there is no impact written on it. They'll talk all day long about what they did. Yeah, everybody does it, man. So that's what this is referring back to, no outcomes. For a second, I was like, what was I thinking? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Now, we are here. Okay, we're almost towards the end of the session. I'm going to share my bot with you, like the GPT that I built. But, and I'll show you quickly how I created it. It's so simple. It's so simple. You have to pick up one target role now for yourselves. What is it that you want to do with your career? Now, that one target role is going to come with what homework? You say, know thyself, and then say, hey, what is it that I can do in scenarios A, B, C, D, whatever the scenarios are. You think your job is going to get outdated? How do I keep myself? Whatever. Put those criteria on the paper and say, okay, fine, I'm going to talk about these, and then deep dive into everyone. Why am I choosing this role? Do I really want to do it? If I go in, will I get burned out after a few years? Better still, am I just going to do this for the sake of putting food on the table, and then I have after 5 p.m. I'm going to do whatever, and that's going to do whatever I need, and whatever thirst I have, and that's going to be quenched after 5 p.m. That's perfectly good an answer, but that's you. You are an individual, and you need to make that call yourself. I'm just doing this to put food on the table. Who cares? Even if I'm doing grunt work, that's fine. So that is what you said. That's why your targeted role and your targets are from getting that job is the first step. That's the जो नीव डलती है, like the base पाया जो आपण म्हणतो एखाद्या बिल्डिंगचा किंवा आपल्या रेझ्युमेचा, that's where it starts. Lay down your premises for your target role, and lay down your premises first, and then say, okay, then because of that, this is my target role. Whatever, AI can come, external factors, internal factors, whatever. They can come down on a piece of paper and then delve deep into each one of them and then say, okay, fine, this is my target role. This is what I want to do with the next 10 years of my life. Okay, burnout is real. So please be aware of that too. Do not just count external factors like AI and stuff, and then 2 years down the lane, you're like, oh my God, I made a mistake changing my careers. Or, oh my God, I'm doing this for 17 years now, I cannot code for one day. Then you have to do something to keep your passion up. So write down a plan, what have you, to say, okay, fine, if I come to that point, what will happen? Think about ifs, buts, hows, whens, everything. And then that is the role you target. That is the number one thing that you do after today. And now that you have that role, then implement it and then get your AI into picture and say, okay, fine, now I have this role. Please can you help me fine tune my resume? And these are the few things that I want. So the seven things that I talked about before, they will be in my GPT, but you can actually take that. I can actually share the prompt with you, and you can create your own GPT to tweak it. And then that's where that actually culminates, and it's a good segue to the use AI carefully. Because make AI do the work after telling it what you are. Now you're risking privacy there, but it's okay. It's not something that is not public. It's already on LinkedIn. You're just putting it via AI, so that's fine. But then here is where the fun is. Human in the loop. And I'm ready to be that human in the loop for you. Once AI has done its job, first of all, you need to go and look at it and say, was this exactly what I intended? Do I need to make more tweaks so that I can talk about it? It's not AI's, it's me. And then get it reviewed by your friends. From me, I can do it if I can oblige you. That's when we'll set up the meeting and talk to each other. Make sense? All right, I think let's talk about the future. What happens next? So like I said, good segue again into this slide. Resume reviews can be happening only after we do those 7 tailored steps that we talked about. I'm going to share the notes from this, so you'll have those 7 steps too. And then we'll the role specific tuning and everything can be done based on what you get from the human in the loop. Whatever you get back, that's where you start applying. Then the grunt work is already done. Now you need to look at it and say, okay, fine, this is what I need to do, within that. And then take that entire resume and put it on LinkedIn. Okay, this is going to take you a good 10 to 15 days to get through this entire thing. You might have to go back to your ex-colleagues, etc., what have you. Even current colleagues, if you're trying to find a job and you're in a job. Build that rapport, people. It's not hard. Just a smile gets you a lot of things. LinkedIn, take your resume once you're done, put it on LinkedIn and turn on your LinkedIn profile to say, hey, I'm looking for a job, and only turn it on for the recruiters. I can show you all that once we get to that level, or maybe in the next session. Then we talk about those future workshops. So as I told you, the war is getting the job. This is only one battle won. Get your step through the door. The first question that I ask every mentee of mine is, which stage are you getting stuck at? Are you getting calls, or are you getting stuck when you're interviewing? And then I actually concentrate on where they're getting stuck. So if they are getting calls, I don't even bother tweaking their resume at the moment. Because the end goal is to, don't over-engineer things too, right? You don't want to, it's working, chalo, I'm getting job calls, fine. Let's skip through this entire thing and let's go to the next step, which is like the next battle, right? And so that's my next workshop going to be like, hey, how do I sit there in front of these people and make that impression? And then, my friend Abhi, your jargons and your buzzwords will come into use. And then I'll tell you how that you can make it work for yourself. But again, it should again be your resume. Everything should go back to your resume. So how you tie it back to your resume is the whole thing. That's why this is the very, very major step that you need to take. So my future workshops will be winning the rest of the battles mostly. And then once you get the offer, also there is negotiations there too. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So about 2 or 3 more workshops is what I'm thinking. But so far so good. Now let's, without any questions so far. All right. I hope this session is giving you what a little different, alag, than what you've been listening to and hearing from people. So I'll be really like, what I did was I just have created this. So I'm just going to give you the kind of things that it outputs. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Suvrat. So yeah, this is what we have in. Thanks, y'all. So this is, I just put it in and I told it, hey, why don't you just, very simple, right? I just wanted to stand out more. Do whatever magic you need to do, and it did. But the problem I had was I did not ask it to write in Canvas so that I can update it. Now it's not formatted properly, if you can see. If you're a technical person, there are different things that you can use this for. So like there are other, Atharva, suggest one of those things that you use for making your resume quickly.
To make resume, I would say like job role, you can just put it in if
Oh,
possible.
no. The tool that you use to format your resume.
It's a GPT. So I use GPT. I have created my own GPT, so it helps me tailor accordingly my needs.
Okay. But then these are the things that you add to it. No, but there is some software that you used the other day, and for the love of God, I've used it so many times that I can't.
Oh, latex.
Latex. There you go. Latex.
Yeah,
I'm so
latex.
sorry. I don't know why I'm blanking out on it. Maybe I'm talking too long. But yeah, that's it. Any questions that you have, I'm going to share this link. But it is, and I have a few prompts in this too. So I will share the prompts. But anything that I missed, just try it out and tell me, hey, this is bad, this is good, or anything under the under the sun. You can just tell me, hey, you need to fix this with this. I'll also share the prompt, as I said. Just a second. Isn't all the chance.
Hey, Trupti. Hi.
Hi, Priya.
Good morning. I have one question. So is there a way or is there a tool? So I'll just set up this. I'm gonna update my resume after like almost 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I know that nowadays it's more like the ATS format resume that is in the trend right now. Looking at a lot of resumes, right? So my intent is to firstly format it that way. Second thing is obviously if I take a look at the 5 years backlog,
Mhm.
as you mentioned earlier, right, log everything that you have been doing so that it becomes a talking point that you can add to your resume or in the process of interviews.
Yes.
Is there a way where if I see a job opening with some description on LinkedIn, I can check whether my resume is fitting to that. I mean, because every resume or every JD that you see, you think that you're a right fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That
actually do that.
intuitively happens, right? Like, okay, yeah, this role is exactly what I'm good at, or it is just an extension to what I'm currently being placed, and this is what my next role should look like.
Sure.
So is there a way quickly we can, like, see or match your resume against the JD, and it will tell you exactly what shortcomings or what extra areas you need to add in, if
Yes.
that's possible.
So the thing is, that's what I was going to talk in the next session too. It's a great question, by the way,
Okay.
Suresh. Thank you for the question. But the thing is that yes, you can. You can actually implement a GPT. I have a GPT for that too. I'll share that too. So that because what I do is, like I told you, right? Once you पाया आधी साफ केलात ना, कि हाँ, this is my build up, then
Mhm.
you know yourself completely that you can talk about anything. That means काही आलं त्यातलं तुम्हाला, काही त्यांनी विचारले प्रश्न तर तुम्हाला यायला पाहिजेत, राईट? ते झाल्यानंतर जेव्हा
बरोबर.
तुम्ही एखादा जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन येतं ना, ते तुम्ही चॅट जीपीटीच्या अगेन्स्ट जर का टाकलत ना, तर होऊन जाईल ते. एक मिनिट, मी फक्त आय डोंट वॉन्ट टू शेअर माय chat. So what I'm going to do is I'll just pull this apart and I'll show you an example I did for T-Mobile. I never got the job, by the way. They rejected me at the last stage. पण सी देर आर फेलियर स्टोरीज टू, नाही, राईट? एवढं सगळं आपण करतो तरी होऊ शकत नाही, म्हणजे असं काही ना काहीतरी राहतच आपलं त्याच्यामध्ये पण. पण
बरोबर.
प्रॉब्लेम तुम्ही जे म्हणताय ना, तो ऍक्च्युअली इट इज व्हेरी इझी टू solve by just giving the job description and putting your resume together and saying, hey, GPT, just match it up for me. And then
Okay.
it will. फार सोपं आहे ते. खूप
अच्छा.
सोपं आहे. आणि ते
मी ट्राय करेन
त्याचं
नक्कीच.
मी त्याच्यासाठी पण मग माझं जे आहे ना जीपीटी, ते मी तुम्हाला देते. माझा प्रॉम्प्ट तयार आहे त्याच्यावरती. आणि जो तो प्रॉम्प्ट आहे तोही मी जर का म्हणजे कुठल्या तरी डॉक्युमेंटमध्ये टाकून मी सगळ्यांबरोबर शेअर करते, अख्ख्या टीम बरोबरच शेअर करते. इथे कशाला करायचंय. थँक्यू सो मच सुजित. येस, ओव्हरलीफ इज ऑल्सो अनदर वन दॅट हॅव ट्राईड. ओव्हरलीफ किंवा लॅटेक्स हे दोन्ही चांगली आणि खूप उत्कृष्ट टूल्स आहेत. सो तेवढंच आहे. पण दिस इज दी ओनली थिंग दॅट येस. सो प्रियेश, you can totally do that, but I would say step -1 is to know yourself. Step 0 is to actually get that resume in and make yourself marketable and get to know exactly what you can talk on. Because unless तुम्ही जर का आत्ताचा रेझ्युमे जर का अगेन्स्ट यांनी पोझिशन टाकलात ना, तर काही काही असे वर्ड्स असतील किंवा काही काही अशा ट्रेंड्स असतील त्याच्यामध्ये जे तुम्हाला माहिती नाही. आणि मग देन यू हॅव अ सीट एट द टेबल अँड दॅट इज प्रॉब्लेम युअर ओनली वन शॉट. यू वोंट गेट अनदर कॉल फॉर अनदर मंथ ऑर सो. आणि मग तुम्ही काय, म्हणजे तुम्ही यू वेस्टेड दॅट ना. कारण की तुमचा रेझ्युमे चांगला नाही, ते सगळं तुमच्या रेझ्युमेवरती बेस करणार आहेत. आणि तुमचा रेझ्युमेच चांगला नाही तर मग सगळंच मग देन यू कॅन नॉट विन द रेस्ट ऑफ द बॅटल्स. म्हणून ह्याला जास्ती महत्व आहे आता जे करतोय ते आपण स्टेप 0ला.
Yeah, your preparation should be as good as.
Yes. Once you're prepared on your resume, believe me, the rest of the battles become much simpler. Much simpler. Because all you need to do is curve the person in the right direction. तुम्हाला जे काही माहिती आहे ना, ते तुम्ही बरोबर त्यांना सांगू शकता. आणि तो जर का तुम्ही वर्ड वापरला आणि त्यांनी तुम्हाला विचारलं ना, झालं. बाय द एंड ऑफ इट, लाईक, ओ वाव, दिस गाय नोज एव्हरीथिंग. There are tactics to do things. There are ways to do it also. So I want to talk about those when you are getting there. And you might need some practice before you get it down. But it's okay. It's okay. All of us do. So that's about it. So yeah, let me share that prompt also with you, that GPT
Yeah,
also with
thanks.
you, and that's it. Any other questions? Okay. I think we are way over time. So मी आता हे सेशन थांबवते इथे. आणखीन काही तुम्हाला क्वेश्चन्स असतील तर प्लीज फील फ्री टू रीच आउट टू मी, DM me on WhatsApp. I will answer them. Nothing more matters to me than putting our community to work. I'm trying to do as much as I can, but one person is not enough, is what I've realized. This is to build our community such that we can help each other and push each other to that through that finish line. So anything and everything is all welcome. Thank you, people. Thank you so much for listening and hearing me out. आणि मला ही opportunity दिल्याबद्दल तुमच्या